What's going on, everybody? Welcome to West Nail Virus. We are your hosts, Caleb Nail and Josiah West. We make up the virus, and we hope we spread it to you this glorious morning on October 27th, 2023. A lot on the docket for today. We got college football, sign stealing, of course. More things coming out about that. It's always fun to talk about. We're going to talk about a little bit. We're going to do our previews today and pick some winners. We got to talk about Thursday night games as well. The NFL had a Thursday night football game. We're also going to pick our winners for Sunday. And the NBA started yesterday. So a couple headlines there. We're not going to stick around in the NBA for a while, but we'll mention it. But question of the day, is sign stealing okay? Is sign stealing okay? Josiah, my question to you, comment below, everyone, is sign stealing okay?
I mean, look, morally speaking, right? It's a point of like, if you can get a guy out there to watch the game and you can see what they're doing, and if you're allowed to do it in a game, because obviously you're going to try to, then I don't know why you can't have a guy at their other, at these teams' other games, like looking at signs, stuff like that. And I don't know. NCAA needs to make it really clear what their position is on this, like very clear. And that way, if anyone is caught doing anything, banhammer, but
death penalty.
Or they need to say, well, you're going to do it anyway. We're just not going to catch some people, and other people we're going to catch. So then the teams we don't catch are going to have an unfair advantage. It's like, maybe just tell everybody they can do it. And then it's kind of on them if they don't.
Yes or no? Is it okay? I'm going to say yes.
I mean, okay. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know what's wrong. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's sports. Like,
exactly.
Evidently, what team was it? TCU. Evidently, TCU heard about Michigan's sign stealing. So before they played them in the playoffs, they changed all the signs they were using. Oh my gosh, my cat is.
Yeah, and they'd use the decoy. They use the old signs. I think okay.
Yeah, my cat's been really annoying right now. Hold on.
If you're on audio, you got to tune into YouTube. It's an earthquake. TCU kept their old signs as decoys, changed their signs so that they could do that against Michigan, and no wonder Michigan got smashed by TCU. It was oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a seizure. If you're on YouTube, I apologize. That is why I believe sign stealing is okay. You should always expect someone's trying to steal your signs, and that's what I've been saying since day one. Everyone does it. Shoot, Nick Saban was on the Pat McAfee show and saying that there were guys when he was coaching in the NFL on those NFL teams' payrolls to steal signs. The problem is that as a head coach, you're not too aware of what exactly is going on because you have your game plan. You're trying to take care of what's going on in your world. You're not too worried about sign stealing.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Michigan, I don't think they are probably as strong of a team as most people think they are. I think, honestly, I do think a lot of their team is based on how good they are at stealing signs and how much they do it more than other teams do it. Because in what world should TCU have ever beaten Michigan, right? If Michigan is this good.
They did it.
But
they beat them.
They did. But only because Michigan didn't know what they were doing. Every other team they play, they know exactly what's happening every single play. They're like, oh, guys, they're running it up the middle. Everybody just hit the middle. It's like, oh, that's easy. super duper easy to play the game if you know what the other team is doing. It's like, oh, they're playing, playing a zone, guys. Watch out.
I think it's you still have to execute, and you don't know the exact play, right? I maybe you do. I don't know, but you don't know the routes and things that are going on. Would be my guess. You know if it's a run or a pass, or maybe to which side. But I don't think they know that well. You still have to execute. That's why I appreciate what Deion Sanders came out and said. It's like, look, you could steal signs all you want. You still got to play the game and execute. And shoot, you may be wrong on a couple. Michigan was wrong on all of them against TCU, but I think that's a hilarious story. But you still have to execute. So I don't think it means that much. I still think Michigan is a very good team, and I still think TCU last year was a very good team and was very deserving of winning that game. I think they beat them on a neutral field. It was a neutral field, but neutral as in no signs being stolen. I don't.
That's fair.
Shoot, now there's stuff coming out about Michigan's taking a beating. The FBI has got involved with something. I forget exactly what it was.
A Michigan staffer logged on to account that he wasn't supposed to be on a school computer.
Yeah, we don't know.
It was kind of unclear. We didn't really understand. We were trying to understand what was happening there. We didn't really get it. So if you know, let us know in the comments. But
I think it was like personal emails, something like that. And he had access to all. I think
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, so he did a really poor job destroying. But of course, the FBI got involved. But we all know how great the FBI is. They're terrible. All right, let's move on to the Thursday night college football games. Shoot, even Wednesday, because the show is 3 days a week. Jacksonville State crushed FIU. Not surprising. UTEP beat Sam Houston by 3 points, scored 17 points in the fourth quarter to come back and beat them. Sam Houston was a 7-point favorite. They were projected to get their first win this week. And just like we talked about, Josiah, on Wednesday, this was one of my upset picks. And unfortunately, I did not want this to happen, but unfortunately it did. Sam Houston is now owning.
Goodness, dude. Sam Houston, they're in a pickle right now.
Yeah, they're the opposite of JMU, where James Madison joins and crushes people. Sam Houston joins and is struggling. Then last night.
By the way, I just real quick headline about Sam Houston. They are higher in offensive yards per game than Iowa. So,
who is it? Who is it? What is it?
No one, actually. I was dead last.
I was dead last?
Yeah. I was dead last.
There we go.
It's pitiful, dude. It's pitiful.
Oh, man. Last night's games. Virginia Tech played Syracuse, won 38-10. Syracuse has been a disappointing story this year, in my opinion. Last year, they started off pretty hot. They were undefeated. I believe they were about 8-0 last year at this time last year. And then I think they lost to Clemson, gave Clemson a good game this year, didn't give Clemson a good game, get smacked by Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's not a bad team, though. But I'm not talking about Virginia Tech. I want to talk about Syracuse, Josiah. What happened? I mean, Schrader's still their quarterback, but I don't know. Is ACC that much better? I guess, and it might be. It is actually. Now that I think about it, the ACC is that much better.
All right.
I answered my own question. The ACC is that much better, and also, I don't think the Syracuse O-line is what it was last year. So Schrader having negative 42 rush yards is pretty bad.
Syracuse looked like they were getting better for a while, but you don't get to hold on to your players in college, so you only have 4 years to get better. So it's didn't happen.
Well, sometimes, like currently, some guys 8 years.
Well, that's a good point, actually.
Georgia Southern smacked Georgia State 44-27, which a lot of people saw this coming. I didn't want to believe it because Georgia State has been playing well. Came into this game 6-1, but Bryn, their quarterback, threw for 334 yards and 3 touchdowns. Georgia Southern is a very good team. And Cobb, the wide receiver, 2 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown.
Wow.
So, yeah. Georgia Southern looking good. Sunbelt, always tough. Tonight's game, Florida Atlantic, Charlotte. Florida Atlantic is a 3.5-point favorite. Josiah, who do you got in this one?
Florida Atlantic and Charlotte. I'm
Yes.
gonna go with
Charlotte's
honestly.
at
I'm
home.
just gonna go with Florida Atlantic.
Taking the favorite.
They have taken the favorite. I don't think it's gonna be an upset. Charlotte, they haven't done very well. They beat East Carolina, who was good for a while, but they lost to SMU,
Right.
Maryland, Georgia State, and I don't know, man. Neither of these are both bad teams. It's hard to tell, but I'm gonna go with the favorite. I'm gonna go with FAU. I think they've beat some higher quality opponents than
Yes, that's
than
always
Charlotte.
that's always a scary way to play the game, Josiah. You know that. But
I do.
the way FAU plays football, they're going to win. I mean, they throw the ball. In my opinion, more more better than Charlotte. Oh wow, that was, as you can tell, this is my education level. They're more successful moving the ball down the field through the air. How'd that sound?
Right. Sounded
So
good. Sounded
I
good.
believe they're not very efficient. Their quarterback has touchdown to interception ratio is not that great, but Charlotte doesn't throw the ball as often. So we will see. We will see what Charlotte. Gosh, Charlotte defensively is better, so you have that. But I think FAU wins this game. All right, let's get into the big games though. The ones that you guys are interested in. Oregon, Utah. Huge game this week. I mentioned, I believe on Monday, Josiah, about who I thought was going to win this game. Oregon is the favorite here, and Oregon's going to win this game. I have no doubt. Utah has one of the best defenses in the country. They're better than they were in the past 2 years. But offensively, at the quarterback position, it's not the same. They're competent, but just not the same. Where Oregon is unstoppable. Their offense is so good.
I do agree. I have a very similar reasoning as well. I mean, I think Oregon wins, and I think it's the offensive difference. They both have very good defenses. They're both very high in defensive categories, statistically.
Right.
But they on offense, Utah is nowhere near top 10. Oregon is top 10 in most categories. So I think offense makes a difference, and Oregon pulls out the win.
Yeah, Oregon 6.5-point favorite. I would take Oregon minus 6.5. I just Utah is good. They are very good, but they're not this Oregon team. This Oregon team is actually elite. So, excuse me. All right, next game. Oklahoma, Kansas. I've seen a couple things out there that Kansas could upset Oklahoma. I think a lot of people got excited after UCF kept it close against Oklahoma. Bean, I believe, is starting this game. I think Jalen Daniels is out. I just don't see Kansas winning this game. What are your takes on this one?
Yeah, I wrote down Oklahoma wins because Jalen Daniels is still out. I think Jason Bean, I think he's a good enough quarterback. He's just he doesn't have the upset potential that Jalen Daniels has, I think, in terms of just raw athleticism and playmaking ability. He's a good quarterback, and statistically, he's actually done better than Jalen Daniels this year. But I still think Jalen Daniels gives him a better chance of winning an upset like this, and he's not there.
The ceiling with Jalen Daniels is higher than with Bean currently. I think Bean has some the potential with Bean is in Bean's skills is very high though. But you have Dylan Gabriel on the other side of the ball. Dylan Gabriel is a Heisman contender right now. The Oklahoma defense is legit. Oklahoma is favored by 9 points. Josiah, are you taking Oklahoma at 9, or are you getting Kansas to cover here?
No, I'm taking Oklahoma at 9.
Yeah, same. I think Oklahoma wins by 2 touchdowns.
I'd agree. I'd say like 30 something to like 20.
Yeah.
35, 20.
Sure. I'm down. I'm going to save Fresno State and Georgia game for last because those are our teams. We'll talk about those teams. Duke, Louisville.
All right.
Louisville, we've seen play up and down the competition, I guess you could say. Duke played well against Florida State, but then they pulled Riley Leonard. Louisville is favored in this, 4.5. It's a top 25 matchup in the ACC. Speaking of the ACC getting better, Josiah, this is what I mean. Duke and Louisville are top 25. Who do you have in this game and why?
I'm taking Louisville. I'm taking Louisville because their offense, I think they have a more potent offense than Duke, and on paper, they should win, and I think they will. And on top of that, they lost last week, so they should be playing mad this week. They should be upset that they lost their winless, their lossless season. To Pittsburgh, no less. And
yeah,
I think that I think they should be out there. I think they should be playing mad, playing hard, playing to win. And I think Louisville will take this one. And on top of that, 4.5-point favorite. I'm not taking them to cover. My prediction is it's won by a field goal.
Okay. I like that. So you got Duke at plus 4.5. I'm going to take Duke plus 4.5 as well. And I'm going to take Duke to win this. If Riley Leonard gets out there and plays the entire game, they win. I think Duke's defense is good enough to win this game. So I'm going to take Duke to win this game. Next on the docket is Wyoming, Boise. And last time I checked, I have not checked recently. I'm going to pull it up right now. Boise was favored over Wyoming, and they still are. 5 points. This, to me, I don't get. I understand Boise runs the ball unbelievably well with Jainty and Helani. And Jainty is a young kid. He ran all over us last year. Fresno State fans will remember. But Wyoming has one of the top defenses in the Mountain West. I would argue their defenses could compete with some really good offensive teams. This Boise State team is not that great. They're not. So
no,
I'm taking Wyoming to win this game. I just don't understand. I would honestly, if I'm a betting man, I'm smashing this game at Wyoming. I'm smashing Wyoming. What's your take on this, Josiah?
Well, I'm taking Wyoming to win this game, and I think it's because they are a much better team defensively than Boise. Boise has also folded against every single moderately okay team that they've played at all so far. I'm going to name all the teams that they have played that I think are okay at football, and at least. And I want you to guess what they all have in common. Washington, UCF, Memphis, and Colorado State. What do those 4 teams have in common?
They throw the ball decently well?
No, they beat Boise.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah, they do, but they beat Boise. No, Boise, I don't think they can beat a good team this year. They're not a very good team, and defensively, Wyoming is better. I think their defense wins in the game, and I don't think it's particularly close.
People forget I don't know if people forget or people don't know, but the quarterback at Wyoming and the running back at Wyoming and the O-line at Wyoming, those three and their tight ends are very good. I don't know if people don't know that or they forget that, but at those positions, Wyoming is legit. So
They're good.
They're going to, they were on our upset. Boise's going to get upset. They were on our upset episode. You can go check that out if you want. Air Force, Colorado State, Josiah. Air Force is undefeated, ranked 19 in the country. They're still at the top of the Mountain West. They play Colorado State. This is a rivalry game. Colorado State had like I said, they throw the ball over the field, and Colorado State beat Boise. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that this team in Colorado State who throws it all over the field can give Air Force some fits? By the way, Air Force, 14-point favorite.
I do not. Air Force is the better team, and they should take care of Colorado State, and I believe they will. I think Air Force is going to win this. The only team to even get close to beating Air Force so far was the aforementioned Wyoming. And I don't think Colorado State has it in them to beat Wyoming or Air Force. So that's my standings on the matter.
I think that Colorado State can hang offensively with Air Force. Horton, their wide receiver, is legit. Now their quarterback is young. We'll see if he plays well, and it's going to be tough too against this Air Force defense because it is legit. But I think they are athletic enough and potent enough offensively in the passing game to keep up with this Air Force offense because Colorado State defense is not going to be able to stop the Air Force offense. So right. I think Colorado State covers the 14, but I'm taking Air Force to win this game. Next on the docket, we have Tennessee, Kentucky. Josiah, we talked about this game off air, and I asked you, do you think Kentucky can upset Tennessee? And very quickly you said, no. Why is that?
Look, Kentucky is just not that good on any side of the ball, specifically offense when compared to Tennessee. Tennessee is statistically higher in every single category that relies on points or yards. And Kentucky is not going to be able to upset them. I don't think. I do think Tennessee is the better team, and I think that they play with enough discipline and vigor that they shouldn't be losing an upset game like this. I'm taking them to cover the spread,
which is my Tennessee minus 3.5. I mean, Kentucky can run the ball, and I'm surprised Devin Leary. I mean, we've seen some decent games from Devin Leary, but I'm surprised he hasn't taken over. To say, Milton, he was too hyped up this offseason. I think everyone expected him to be okay, but not at the level of Hendon Hooker, Josh Heupel, Tennessee. He's young, he's still figuring things out. Yeah, he's freaky athletic though, and he's huge. I really like him.
Right.
Tennessee can also run the ball well. I like what they do on the ground. I'm with you. I don't think Kentucky sniffs Tennessee this week. I think Tennessee covers the 3.5 and wins the game. It's just not happening. Yep. Sorry, Kentucky. Washington State, Arizona State. So we've seen Arizona State keep it close with a lot of teams. And the line on this is Washington State 5.5, favored by 5.5. Do you think that Arizona State can win this game? I mean, we saw Arizona derail Washington State. It was bad. Do you think the next Arizona school gets a hold of the Washington State team?
This is a hard one because look, Arizona State, they're a solid team in terms of like hanging with teams that they shouldn't beat. They've done it pretty well this whole season. And
Sorry,
unfortunately, they have been unable to convert on those keeping it close games. And I don't know if they'll be able to do it this week either, but Washington State definitely is their best chance. I mean, Washington State is not as good as Washington, and that was a close game, 15-7 with Washington. That's a good look. 27-24 with Colorado. It wasn't particularly close with USC, but it's still 14-point loss. I mean, honestly, I think Arizona State can win this one. Statistically speaking, nothing really stands out for me except the fact that Washington State's passing offense is very potent. They have very good, very, very good passing offense. I think that Arizona State wins this game. I'm going to take Arizona State to win it. I've got them for the upset. I'm excited. I hope they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, this past month, Arizona State has fixed a lot of things. I think they struggled to find their identity early. Now they're finding it. They're getting the ball in their playmakers' hands, and they were beat up at the beginning of the season, and they had a lot of injuries, and those guys are starting to come back now and make a difference. And play calling is way better now. Scadaboo is getting the ball, and when you have a name like Scadaboo in the month of October, you better be performing well. So, and he is.
Oh, yeah. I'll say this too.
Go ahead.
If Arizona State loses this game, keeps it close, but then loses it again, there's a coaching problem because they've kept it close so many times and they haven't managed to win them. If they do it again, there's a coaching problem.
Okay.
I don't think they will, but
younger coach, new coach, first year. We'll see. I think Dillingham, I believe is his name. I think he took over play calling after Fresno State game offensively. I think I could be wrong about that.
Well, stuff got better.
Yes. Yeah. There were some things that happened internally in this program within the coaching staff. They made some changes after the Fresno State game, and they have been competing. They're not getting blown out all the time. I'm with you, Josiah. I think that defensively, this Arizona State team is good enough to play against this style of offense. We watched them do it against Washington, who is the better offense than Washington State. And it's very similar. Right? They throw the ball over the field, good weapons, very good skill players. Washington State has very good wide receivers and a very good quarterback, just like Washington. If Arizona State can do the same thing, they will win this game because the defense at Washington State is not as tough as Washington. So I'm going to take Arizona. I'll do Arizona State to win. They're plus 5.5.
All right.
I would definitely pick them to cover, but I'm picking them to win. All right, next, staying in the Pac-12. Oregon State versus Arizona. This is, I think, going to be a fun game. Oregon State's only favored by 3. Who you got taking this one?
Oh, this is another really, really, really hard one. Arizona leaves every game crazy close except last week. Arizona has left every game, their largest margin of victory or defeat, not counting FCS teams. Their largest margin of victory or defeat was, I believe, 7 points. That's the biggest difference up until this past week when they demolished Washington State.
Right.
It's going to be so close. This game will be a 3-point or less game. And
so you're taking Arizona to cover.
I'm taking Arizona to cover, but I think I'm going to have to take Oregon State to win.
Yeah.
I like both of these teams, but I think I have to take Oregon State to win just because of their offense. They have a very good offense. DJ's been performing at a high level, and I think
Mhm.
they'll win it.
DJ is so underrated this year because he's on the West Coast. We know that. So underrated. He's having a if he was
And
having
he
this
did
year,
bad at Clemson last year, but look at what Clemson's doing this year.
oh, Clemson is that athletic department as a whole is in trouble. Just to let you
They're
know.
a mess
At
right now.
Clemson, yeah, it's bad. So I'm taking Oregon State as well. I do think they cover the -3. This Oregon State team is just so tough and gritty, and Arizona is as well. Their head coach over there changed up some things, and their culture at Arizona now I really like. They're going in the right direction. I just like this Oregon State team that much more. They've been playing this style of football for the past couple years. Their running game is very good. Damian Martinez, I believe, is a running back. He's a stud. Their second guy that carries the ball is massive, and Damian Martinez is massive. This other guy is massive as well. DJU's playing well, and the defense is a stout defense. I'm taking Oregon State -3, but I agree. I mean, this is a 6-point, 7-point game.
Yeah, it's gonna be real close.
Two more games, and then we'll get to our hometown teams. Georgia Tech, North Carolina. Does you picked Georgia Tech to upset North Carolina, Josiah, in our upset episode. I mean,
I did.
do you think North Carolina can do anything to bounce back? Or don't you think that, like you said, like Louisville, they lost. Now they're pretty upset. They got to bounce back. They're an 11.5-point favorite, by the way, North Carolina.
Look, here's the thing, okay? North Carolina is the better team, and they should win this game. But I absolutely believe that Georgia Tech has the ability to win this game and upset North Carolina. They've kept it close with a lot of good teams. They kept it super close with Louisville. They kept it super close with Miami, who is, they're up and down. But I don't know. I
mean, the loss to Virginia was so bad. You have to start thinking this way.
You do. I mean, I think North Carolina should win this game. They're favored by 11.5 points. I'm expecting North Carolina to win, but Georgia Tech to cover the spread.
Yeah.
But I'm going to my official stance is that Georgia Tech is winning it because it was my upset pick earlier in the week. I've got to take it. My official stance is Georgia Tech is winning this game. And I'm sticking to that.
All right. This is the only time Josiah will pick Georgia Tech ever again. I agree with you on the fact that I'm going to take North Carolina to win this game, but they definitely cover. Georgia Tech definitely covers. And I don't think you're crazy for picking Georgia Tech to win. After what we saw against Virginia, there's no reason that Georgia Tech can't win this game. Haynes King, quarterback at Georgia Tech, former quarterback at Texas A&M, he's a very competent quarterback. He's shown that he could play at a high level. We'll see how North Carolina answers. Can they bounce back? We got a lot of bounce back questions and when we get to NFL. But yeah, I agree with you. Georgia Tech, very capable of covering that 11.5. And last but not least, UCLA, Colorado. Colorado fans the casual Colorado fans are gone. So we could say whatever we want now without getting canceled.
Right.
By the way, we are going to get canceled on the show if everyone hasn't figured it out yet. We have a segment coming up. It's a new segment today. We're going to get canceled. Anyways, Colorado plays UCLA. UCLA set 16.5-point favorite. Is there any chance that Colorado wins this game or even covers, Josiah?
Yes, I absolutely think there's a chance that they cover, at least. Winning the game will be a lot harder. They don't have a great defense, and they have a terrible rushing game. They cannot run the ball at Colorado, or they haven't tried.
They've been losing every game. They have to throw.
It's true. That's a very good point.
But
I do think. Well, yeah.
I will say Shadur Sanders has been excellent throwing the ball. 21 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Yes.
He's thrown for almost 2,500 yards. Unbelievable, actually.
Yeah, no, he's having a crazy year. That's the thing. They're playing the game like I play NCAA 14, just with less interceptions. And and that's all passing. All passing. So all UCLA has to do is shut down their passing attack a couple of times, and they're good. That's the thing. UCLA wins this game. I think. I do think Colorado covers. I do think they cover just because they have scored so many points almost every game this year. I think they cover. I think they keep it close, but I do not think that. Although UCLA has a good defense, I don't know. This could be one of those games like Oregon where they lose like by a lot because they can't score. I don't know. I'm taking Colorado to cover, UCLA to win.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the under on this one. It's 61 points right now. I'm taking the under because UCLA defense is really good. I think they're going to sack Shadur at least 5 times. That's how much faith they have in their defense. And they're going to pass the ball all over the field. This game is going to be a 35-10 ball game. So that puts me, what does that put me? Yeah, that puts me at UCLA at -16. So I'll take UCLA -16.5, and I'll take the under with UCLA just shutting them down. And then I think there's some serious questions that pop up in the mainstream media about Colorado offensively what's going on here, or vice versa. Some serious questions come into the mainstream media about, is UCLA actually this good? Which is possible. Offensively, they're mediocre with a young quarterback, but Carson Steele, the running back there, is going to run all over these guys, in my opinion. So I think it'll be a fun game. We've talked a lot of Pac-12. There's some really good Pac-12 games this week. Some other games that I'm looking forward to this week that we didn't mention: JMU, Old Dominion. I think Old Dominion is one of the tougher opponents on James Madison's schedule. James Madison's going to crush them, though. You have Ohio State, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is the top team in the Big Ten West, I believe, and they finally get a shot at Ohio State. Not going to go well, in my opinion, but
no,
we'll see. And then Marshall, Coastal Carolina, I think is a good game that we didn't talk about. Any games that we didn't talk about, Josiah, that you're also looking forward to?
If I had to pick one, no.
Okay. All right,
not really. No.
Let's talk about the hometown teams. First, we'll start with Georgia. You have your big rivalry. What is it? The cocktail party, they call it?
Yes.
Georgia versus Florida. It's in Florida. I still see videos of when the entire Georgia football team ran out on the field to celebrate a touchdown. I absolutely love that. I think it's great.
Oh yeah, Gator stomp, baby.
Do you think there is, or are you? Let me phrase it this way: are you worried at all that Georgia is going to get their first big test of the season this weekend?
Not necessarily. Florida is a very streaky kind of team. Not necessarily streaky, but they're very up and down. Very up and down. Unpredictable. That's the word I was looking for. Very unpredictable team. They lost to Utah. They lost to Kentucky, but they beat Tennessee, who was a better team than Kentucky. So
we're gonna find that out. We'll see this week.
We are gonna find. Yes, we will. But it's hard for me to say that I'm worried about it because I do think Georgia will win this game. I think Georgia plays with enough discipline that most upsets aren't too worrying unless it's a very, very close kind of thing. And I don't think Florida's good enough. I don't think they have the players as of right now to beat Georgia. I think we take. I think we take the win. I'm not super worried about Florida being more hard to beat than, say, Auburn or Kentucky.
Okay.
I don't think they're much better than them.
Okay. I think that Florida does cover the 14.5. And that's because Graham Mertz, you mentioned streaky. Graham Mertz has been very streaky all year. I mean, 12 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, 1,900 yards. I mean, Carson Beck, he's looked unbelievable too. I don't think that Florida's going to be able to stop you guys. I know Brock Bowers is out, and I'm interested to see how you guys implement your other freaky animals into this offense because just next man up. Here we go, another stud. But so I don't think Florida can stop you guys. But defensively, I think is going to be the question for Georgia. What do you do to stop Graham Mertz and Florida? Because let's be honest, they've done a pretty good job. They've surprised a lot of people. Graham Mertz has surprised a lot of people. You know, it's a name we hadn't talked about in a while because he was at Wisconsin, but comes here, finds success. Now Florida, I mean, they're 5-2. They're third in the SEC division with you guys, SEC West, East. I don't remember which one you guys are. I don't pay attention to the SEC East. And yeah, so I think the question is going to be, can Georgia defensively step up and stop Graham Mertz? I believe they can. And then I think offensively, you guys are going to be fine.
I agree. I think that the way we stop Graham Mertz is we just apply pressure with our defensive line. We get in there, we blitz him as hard as we can, and
are you going to blitz? Do you think you can create pressure with a 4-man front or a 3-man front?
I do. It's harder than it was last year or the year before because we don't have Jordan Davis and we don't have Jalen Carter, two of the best defensive linemen in the entire country. But we still have a good defensive line. I think we can create pressure with a 4-man front. I think we'll sometimes rush a 5th, and I think that it will be enough to cause pressure, cause them to panic, maybe throw some picks, maybe force a fumble or something like that. We get some turnovers, we'll be good. That being said, by the way, I wanted to give a little background on the nickname of this rivalry, the cocktail party. I just looked it up because I couldn't remember why it was that no one calls it this anymore. For a long time, it was called the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. That was the name that everyone used for it, promotional material, everything. Then there were a bunch of fights and riots starting in 1984. Florida fans stormed the field. Georgia fans did the same thing the next year. Both fan bases tore down the goalposts. In 1985, 65 arrests were made following Georgia's storming the field. And a lot of this had to do with the fact that it was a cocktail party, right? Everyone was wildly drunk. So after that, they stopped using the world's largest outdoor cocktail party as a promotional material to not promote alcoholism at the game. So that was what's happened to it. But everyone still calls it that. That isn't in the media. The fan bases both call it the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Everyone knows that's what it is.
I mean, that's how you start wars. I mean, that's our family from Croatia. And the Serbs and the Croats, they're not allowed to play soccer against each other because they have literally started wars at these soccer events. Oh, man. And Georgia and Florida would go to war if it happened.
Oh, you know it. Man. You know it.
I know Josiah wants to. He hates Florida Gator fans.
I hate the Gators, man. I hate the Gators. I'm sure it's mutual. But
I'm sure it is. Last game on the docket for college football is Fresno State versus UNLV. Both teams 6-1. It's a competition for, can one make it to the Mountain West Championship? Both teams have that, and that's one of their goals. UNLV, new head coach. We've talked about it a lot on Beware Bulldogs this week, but this is, when we were talking about it earlier in the week, I was like, you know what? Fresno State's really going to win this game by a lot. I'm feeling confident. Then I spoke to the guy from UNLV, and I'm like, okay, man, actually, this game's going to be a lot closer than I was expecting. So now, Josiah, the line has moved to Fresno minus 8.5. It's gone in Fresno's favor, actually. And
All right.
I mean, UNLV has a freshman quarterback. He's done really well. They run like this triple option out of the shotgun with 3 different running backs and their quarterback. He's not the best runner, but he can do it. He threw the ball over the field against Colorado State, and they beat him. Their only loss is to Michigan, at Michigan. This could be a tough game for Fresno, but it's homecoming night in Fresno. What are your thoughts on this game as an outsider? I've talked to a lot of people inside this game. What are your thoughts on this side about this game as an outsider?
This game, yeah. So my my take is that Fresno State's path to a victory is through the air, passing the ball well. Mikey Keene has struggled, and I think he may have actually been benched. Is that correct?
He was injured.
He was injured? Okay. Well, he has struggled a little bit, but if they win, he is their path to winning it. Their starting quarterback, whoever it is that's starting, that's the key in this game. UNLV's passing defense is not great. The only okay defense or offenses that they've played are like Michigan and Vandy. They got destroyed by Michigan, and they lost, or they beat Vandy, but they let up 37 points. It's almost 40 points. It was 40-37. And I think that UNLV, their defense is bad. You just have to pass the ball more effectively than they are. Fresno's defense needs to make a few stops, obviously, because that always has to happen. But the key to victory is your passing offense.
I agree. I don't think that's a bad take at all. I think it is going to happen. The line moving in Fresno State's favor. Gosh, I talked to this guy yesterday, and I said, "Oh, it's going to be," or 2 days ago, "It's going to be close. It's going to be close." And before that, I said, "I don't think Fresno State keeps it close at all. I think it's a blowout." And now here it is for the 3rd time. I'm picking the game. I'm going to take Fresno, but on a 10-point win, so they cover.
Okay, I think it'll end up being a pretty close game because I'm not sure Fresno State's defense is performing at the level that I wish they were. I think that UNLV will cover, but Fresno State will win.
It's going to be a good game. I can guarantee that. I will say, if Logan Fife starts, you can expect a play calling that's going to be more diverse than if Mikey Keene is in. Mikey Keene had a sprained ankle. He was in a walking boot a couple weeks ago. We're coming off a bye week, so that's big. We're a lot of guys injured for us, so we're recovering. I totally agree with you. This has to be through the air, but if Logan Fife is the quarterback, I think we can keep them on their toes, the defense on their toes a little more, because we can run a little more RPOs, a little more read options. I think it could be, some inside zones that are threatened. Well, we could see how they play it, and then Fife can keep it because he's got some wheels. So I think there's more options if Fife starts. I'm not worried if Keene starts, though. I think he'll be just fine, and he'll move the ball through the air efficiently. Okay, that's it for college football. Let's move on to the NFL. Last night we had a game. The Bills played the Buccaneers. And after the Buccaneers lost to the Bills, I still feel as though the Bills are not the team that we are used to seeing. The Buccaneers should have won this game. They had the opportunity with a Hail Mary. Godwin was open. He just didn't turn around in time. He turned around too late, and here comes the ball. If he turned around 2 seconds earlier, he catches that ball, and it's a different story.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and keep this story the same. Like, the Bills are struggling. Josh Allen looked okay. He's still figuring things out in the red zone. Early in the game, they couldn't figure it out. But I think Josh Allen was better because he took what they gave him. He did a lot of checkdowns, a lot of short intermediate passing. He didn't force a whole lot. They were successful because Josh Allen was threatening on the ground. He rolled out a lot, made some good throws. He even kept one for a touchdown. But the Bills don't look like the Bills of the last couple of years. I don't know. Josiah, tell me what you think, what you saw.
I agree. The Bills looked, well, I'll say this. The Bills looked good, but at the beginning of the game, the first two drives, the first drive they were in the red zone, ended up with a field goal. Josh Allen choked in the red zone. Then the next drive, they went down into the red zone. Same thing happened again. They didn't even get a field goal. They went for it on fourth down, and it's like this much, and they had to make. And yeah, bad throw by Josh Allen.
Pick six.
It should have been. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, it should have been. And then on the next drive, there was almost a pick again when there was a guy rushing Josh Allen, and he threw the ball directly into that guy's hand. His hands are like this because that's what you do. Josh Allen, he didn't throw around him. He didn't try and lob it over him. Nothing. He just directly threw it into the guy's hand. It went flying up, went to one of the guy's teammates who dropped the ball, I'm pretty sure.
I thought he picked it.
Josh Allen. Oh, maybe I don't remember at this point, but what I do know is Josh Allen did not perform well under pressure at the beginning of the game. He got better. He did well in the red zone later in the game, and the Bills started to look like a better team later in the game as well. But they didn't do enough to convince me that they are actually a championship level team. I don't think they are Super Bowl contenders this year. I think they need to work on their defense and maybe, I don't know, discipline, play calling. I'm not sure. Something on the offensive side of the ball just isn't clicking like it should be because they have a lot of really, really good weapons. Josh Allen has insane potential, and Stephon Diggs is amazing receiver. James Cook is a really good running back. Dawson Knox is out, but Dalton Kincaid is still a good tight end. They have plenty of good weapons, so they should be performing at a higher level offensively than they are, and their defense is performing at an okay level, but could be improved.
Yeah,
not a championship team.
No, not a championship team. That right now they have the potential. Khalil Shakir, former Boise guy, had 92 yards. I thought he looked good. I mean, Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs are still leading the team in receptions, but they, in my opinion, if you watch the game, they put Stephon Diggs in a lot of motion. They had to force feed him to keep him happy. Josh Allen, I thought, yeah, he's fine. He's doing good. I'm going to move over to the Buccaneers. Look, Baker Mayfield didn't look terrible. He went 25 for 42. It's not the completion percentage you want. He threw for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I thought he was under pressure a lot. The Bills' defense made things really hard on him. And I thought he did a good job. Also, Chris Godwin made some insane catches. These guys were crazy. So, and not only that, but Baker Mayfield had to take the check down a lot this game. And it says something about a quarterback when they're forced to take a check down and they actually take it. I mean, Rachaad White had 7 catches for 70 yards. He also carried the ball 9 times. I thought the Buccaneers actually surprised me. I thought offensively, I thought they would struggle a little more, and especially how their O-line was struggling. I thought it was going to be a long night. But after this loss, hey, your Falcons are still in first in that division. Unbelievable. Can't believe.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll say this. I think the Buccaneers are better than the Falcons, but I will agree with you. A lot of people make fun of quarterbacks for checkdowns, and I think it's actually a sign of a good quarterback. I think it's a sign that this guy knows that, okay, if I force it downfield, that could create a much worse outcome than, just an incomplete pass. It could be an interception. It could be, my receiver gets the ball, but then he gets absolutely demolished and he gets injured, whatever it is. It could come up with a worse, happenstance. I do not mind checking it down, getting 6 yards, getting 5 yards, getting 3 yards. Doesn't matter.
That's the right
You
play.
check it down. Yeah, it's the right play. It's an easy reception. If he's open, yeah, you just throw it to him. He makes a few yards. You're good. You do that 4 times. You do it 3 times. It's a first down. And you
Do it twice
repeat.
first time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some Sunday questions real quick, and then we'll get to some news. Can the 49ers bounce back against the Bengals?
Yes. The Bengals are not playing to the level that they should be this year at all. They're not doing well, and the 49ers absolutely should win this game. I think they can bounce back, and they should bounce back. And I would hazard that they will bounce back.
Even with Brock Purdy out and Sam Darnold starting.
I forgot about that. I'm going to be really honest with you. That's going to make things a lot harder. When is Brock Purdy coming back?
I don't know. Sound like you're from Harry Potter, but I still think that they bounce back in this game. There's Sam Darnold is competent enough to beat the Bengals. I think. I mean, now let put it this way. I got to talk about the Bengals now, because once I start talking about the Bengals, and then I'll think the Bengals will win. The Bengals have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, good wide receivers. They saw how the Vikings exposed the 49ers defense and their passing defense, and that's how everybody's going to do it now. You know what? I don't think they bounce back. I think the Bengals get this win and string a couple wins together, and then everybody's talking about the Bengals. And
that's fair. And I'm looking at it. Sam Darnold starting, they don't bounce back. Bengals win it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'd like to call out Stephen A. Smith. He said that he wasn't convinced that the 49ers are a worse team without Brock Purdy, and I think that's just the worst take I've heard all year from a sports announcer. So, yeah, that's a real bad take.
I don't really agree with Stephen A. on most things, but I think Sam Darnold is a competent quarterback who could do it. He just needed a decent O-line, and he never has had a good O-line at all. So we'll see how Sam Darnold does, and I think he'll be okay. But I do think that the 49ers defense is a problem in a bad way. Like they're not good. And Joe Burrow and company are going to expose them once again, unless they've figured something else out. Can the Chargers bounce back versus the Bears? The Bears got a big win with Tyson Bagent, their undrafted rookie, and the Chargers weren't looking good. Can they bounce back and beat these Bears?
The Chargers should beat the Bears. They absolutely should beat the Bears. I don't have any big injuries right now that I'm forgetting about. So yeah, no, they should beat. They should beat the Bears, and I think they will.
I agree. There's no reason the Chargers shouldn't win this game. The Raiders play the Lions. Both teams lost. I don't really want to call it But which one gets the bounce back? Raiders or Lions? In my opinion, it's the Lions.
I think it's the Lions too. The Raiders are really bad. The Raiders are really bad.
I don't even want to talk about the Raiders. Raiders trash. Lions get the bounce back win there. And then the Rams play the Cowboys. Can the Rams do enough to beat the Cowboys? And if the Rams beat the Cowboys, what is the narrative going to be around the Cowboys? Because we've heard both ends. The Cowboys are terrible and the Cowboys are the best team ever. So can the Rams do enough to win? One. And if they do, what's the narrative about the Cowboys?
I think the Rams can do enough to win. I think the Rams are a team that have not played to expectations, and they're a team that have not played to potential. But I also don't know if they're going to be able to beat the Cowboys this week. It's going to be close. I'm actually going to take the Rams to win. I'm going to take the Rams to beat the Cowboys. I don't like the Cowboys very much this year just because Dak's still there. I'm not a huge fan of Dak as a QB. And I think the Cowboys lose this one.
Yeah, I think it's close, but I think the Cowboys win. I think their defense is just too good for the Rams. Their O-line isn't going to be able to handle Michael Parsons. Most O-lines can't. This O-line will not. We'll see, though, because Diggs has been out all year. I mean, Deron Bland is a beast, but if they can get that short passing game together and get Cooper Kupp open or Nakua open, it could cause a problem, but I think the Cowboys do win this one. We'll see if Dak Prescott and company can move the ball. Him and CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard, they're pretty good. I'm not going to lie. And I think they do enough to win that game. Let's talk about some news. Dalvin Cook is in the news for some trade, like in a trade rumor, because he's frustrated with his snap count. Coach Sayyy came out and said, look, he was injured. He's new to the system. And I side with Coach Sayyy. Yeah, you hurt your shoulder. It's a new system. We have our guys. Don't expect to come in here and get 20 carries a game. You should not expect that. And Dalvin Cook mentioned like he wasn't expecting like to be the horse and carry the entire load, but he wanted a more even share, and he's not getting that, and he's frustrated. Look, if I'm the Jets, I don't put. It's fair, but if I'm the Jets, I'm not going to put up with this. I signed him to a 1-year deal. Let's trade him and get draft picks. It's at the running back position. If you were crying, and if you're crying about your snaps and everything, see ya. And that's just how it is. Running backs, unfortunately, are not worth that much because there's so many of them, and you're so reliant on the offensive line. I know some people hate to hear that, but it's kind of true. So
there's certain running backs that perform at a really, really high level, and they are going to perform at a higher level than a bad running back, with a bad offensive line. But the thing is, you put any running back behind a really good offensive line, and they're going to perform. And that is the thing. There's no reason to worry about getting the best running back out there when you could just worry about getting the best offensive line out there and getting any running back. Now, the one thing that you do have to worry about a little bit is pass catching ability, right? So if your running back can't catch passes, if he's got terrible hands, he's got butterfingers, then yeah, maybe look elsewhere. But Dalvin Cook doesn't have that. He's a good running back. The issue is there's just no reason to pay him more than you're paying, a QB or a receiver or an O-lineman even. Yeah. And that's Breece Hall. And that's the rough thing is it's just, it's hard to, running back is just the least important position in the NFL right now. And unfortunately, it's also the position that takes the most damage. I mean, you're running it up the middle, getting beat up every single play. I wouldn't want to be a running back in the NFL right now. In fact, to
No.
every running back in the NFL, if you have a way out in terms of business, like start a business or like go start commentating or something like that,
No,
do
you need
it.
to tell the high school players like go play receiver or
Yeah,
something else.
yeah, and yeah, high school players, go play receiver, go play QB, go play anything that isn't running back, because if you're the best of the best, it's not going to work out for you at running back. It just
Well,
isn't.
you made a good point about any running back can be good behind a good O-line, and the best are going to separate themselves behind a bad O-line. Well, the Jets have a terrible O-line. So you make a good point for Dalvin Cook to prove that he is the guy, right? Because if they
Right.
if they put him in and he performs well, then hey, you can say more because that's a bad O line. So we'll see what happens. I think if I'm the Jets though, I do trade him. If you're frustrated, see ya. This is not worth it to us. We have guys that are willing to be here. They run the ball. They do a decent job. We have a bad O line, so you're not going to have much success anyways, even if you are better than everybody. So draft picks. We're going to get draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it definitely makes sense to trade him. I might even play him a lot, one game, let him play really well for one game, and just tell him, hey, we're going to get you a really good week, show everybody how good you are, and then we're trading you. We don't want to pay your paycheck. Like,
Right.
just be like, look, you're playing to get on a good team right now. So it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd trade him. I think it's smart to trade him. I'd maybe give him a couple of games, see if he can help your team out massively on offense. Start him play him a bunch. Just see. I mean, your offense isn't doing that much anyways. Your defense is carrying your team. Might as well try a few things on offense. But trading him isn't a bad idea.
I agree. All right, we don't have any Yeovil Town update for you today because they haven't played any games, right? They played Tuesday.
Yes.
And they played Tuesdays and Saturdays, I believe. And
I believe that is correct.
So there's no Yeovil. Go ahead.
Sorry, I have one more piece of NFL news. It was from this past week. It's a very interesting thing that happened in the NFL. There was a baby born inside of Lucas Oil Stadium, the Indianapolis Colts Stadium. There was a baby born inside the stadium. She was 4 days before her due date. Went into labor as they crossed the street to the stadium. They went to the first aid spot, and they got him to the team doctors or something like that in the stadium, and she was already like in labor at that point. Like she was having the baby.
Oh my gosh.
She had a baby. She had her baby inside Lucas Oil Stadium, and it was actually a relative of the Browns wide receiver. Hold on, let me find his name real quick.
That's insane.
The Browns.
I want to know what they named
wide
this baby.
receiver, David Bell. Browns wide receiver David Bell. One of his relatives had a baby.
Oh my gosh.
I guess it was his.
Is there info?
Kid.
Oh wow. Is there info on the name of the baby? Did they name the baby Lucas?
I don't know. All I know is that yeah, that's all I know. I've said all I know. But yeah,
Wow.
they had the baby at the stadium, and it's
all right.
kind of crazy.
That kid has quite the story. So like I said, no Yeovil Town update, but there's some NBA news. We're not going to stick around for a while on this. Just headlines. Damian Lillard scored 39 in his Bucks debut. No surprise. And Porzingis set the all-time record for the Celtics in a debut. I don't really think that's a surprise. We'll see if Porzingis can stay healthy. And then James Harden was a no-show for the 76ers. That wasn't a surprise there. We know he's not happy. Nobody wants James Harden. That's my take. Why would anyone want James Harden? He's not a winner. He's a ball hog, and he causes problems. Nobody wants James Harden. all I have to say about the NBA.
Yeah.
Anything?
There is nothing for me to say about the NBA either. I mean, I like the Bucks this year with Damian Lillard, but that's about it.
Oh, and the Bulls had a player only meeting.
That's
after their first game, after they lost to the Oklahoma. Yeah, after they lost to the Thunder, they had a player only meeting. Something's wrong. Something's going on there that is not good. So that's it for our sports segment here. We have our last segment, and we are just talking about weird stuff we see throughout the week, and we call this
What did he say?
What did he say? Josiah, you had something for us in the state of New York, and then I have something for us.
Gosh. So there was a TikTok that I saw, and it was this guy saying he was talking about ordering bagels in New York City.
You have to do the voice.
He said, well, it was kind of what he sounded like. I mean, I could pull it up and play it for you right now. No. But
nope, you gotta do the voice.
He said in the video, he goes, ordering a bagel in New York City is the most stressful thing in the entire world. There's nothing more stressful than that. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit of a crazy take there. But he goes on to say, he's like, I'm from Los Angeles. And everyone in the comments, of course, was like, we know you're from Los Angeles, dude. Like everything you're saying in this video, of course you're from Los Angeles. But he goes, okay, I'm from Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, when I go into a bagel shop, I order a gluten-free scooped bagel, and they give me the gluten-free scooped bagel, and they're like, oh, okay, have a good day, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And and I go into this New York City bagel shop, and I say, can I get a gluten-free scooped bagel? And the guy goes, no, I'm not scooping your effing bagel, bro. Like, I'm not scooping your bagel. And he said, well, can you please? And he said, no, get out of my shop. Get out of my effing shop. And the guy was like, and I just don't get it. People are so rude here in New York. And I was like, okay. And every comment, half the comments said, I've never heard of a scooped bagel before. And if you haven't heard of
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
If you haven't heard of that, you don't know what that is, then what a scooped bagel is you take a bagel, cut it in half, right? You got the two halves of a bagel. You usually put cream cheese on there, right? And you just eat it. It's great. No, what you do with a scooped bagel is you take all the breading out of the inside of the bagel, right? So then when you put it back together, it's just a shell of a bagel. It's just bagel shell. It's bagel crust. And no one should ever eat that. And then every other comment that wasn't wondering what a scooped bagel was saying that, yeah, no, dude, everyone in the world is on the side of the bagel guy. That should be a war crime. Going into a bagel shop and ordering a gluten-free scooped bagel, that should be a war crime. It's why are you even eating the bagel at that point? You're not eating a bagel.
No.
That's not a bagel.
It's a potato chip. Not if it's gluten-free.
I don't get it.
You're eating a potato chip.
I don't
Whatever. Get it. People in California, man, they're the worst.
Yeah, I saw a good few comments as well saying, man, I really get now why people hate us.
Yeah, my version is great. This guy was from California. Thanks for representing me. Jeez Louise, man. Now I have to explain myself to every single person I see. Oh, you're from California? Oh, gosh, you're a weirdo. And then I have to build up my reputation because it's starting to lay down here. Wow, that was a
great... You gotta move, dude. I'm telling you. You gotta come out here, and then we can set up a table.
Well, perfect. Yeah. I saw something on... I don't have TikTok. I don't trust the Chinese. You're a brave man. But I also have other social medias, so they already
data, so
yeah, they are. I don't know why. Anyways, I saw a video of a girl, I'm sure you guys have seen this as well, complaining about 9 to 5, and she has to wake up early, like at 7. I wish I had wake up at 7. I have to wake up at 7, go to work, get ready, go to work really hard, come home, and then all I have time for is to make dinner and shower and then go to bed. She's crying while saying this. Well, 1, welcome to the real world, honey. 2, that's what she said she missed, doing things. And I thought, okay, 1, the schools are supposed to be preparing them for a 9 to 5. So that's why you go to school. But obviously, they're not even doing, we know they're not doing that because college is worthless now. It's pathetic. And all you do is party. Let me just say this. My classes at Fresno State were the easiest classes I have ever taken, other than my chemistry classes. Okay. Chemistry I hated it. It was impossible. I failed most of them. But like general ed and like social stuff, the easiest thing ever.
Right.
They're prepping you for 9 to 5 to work in a factory. They can't even do that because the kids just want to party. So I saw people's comments, yeah, honey, it is a 9 to 5. That's what a 9 to 5 is. Yeah. Or go start your own business, work your butt off, find something you enjoy. That's my advice. Then you have
Right. Well, that's the thing is, not to get political or economic about this sports podcast, but that's the real thing is that it's the world. That's how our world works right now. We live in a society where most jobs are these 9 to 5, like soul sucking jobs. And yeah, like, sure, we can all sympathize with her. Yeah, a 9 to 5 sucks. Who wants to be sat cooped up in a cubicle for 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever, however many hours it is? I don't know. But no one wants to be sitting there.
I don't want
however many hours that is. Yeah, even 1 hour. But it's no one wants to be sitting there for a super long time all day doing this crappy work, helping out a company that cares nothing about you, doesn't care about you as a person or even as an employee. Barely. You're barely making enough to live. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It sucks. It sucks. You have to. We're at a point where corporatism has taken over America, and I think this is something that both sides can agree on, that corporatism sucks. Like, both sides of the political spectrum can agree, right? Corporatism sucks.
Yes, it does. But both sides cannot agree because they will say whoever's in power will disagree because their money is coming from corporate companies.
That's the problem. The people in power get their money from corporatism, and corporatism is terrible for the little guy, and that being everyone other than the people in charge. Yeah. And it sucks. It sucks big time. We need to move back to a point of like small businesses are the vast majority of businesses. There shouldn't be these huge like Walmart, Amazon, like all this stuff. That stuff is not good for our society. It's not good for us as people. Yes, it's convenient, but the problem is this is why this kind of society, this is why we have so much depression, so much anxiety, so many mental issues. I mean, we've created a society where it's not only the norm, but it's forced, and it sucks. But corporatism sucks. Not to go on a very big political economic rant, but
well, the problem is, and I'll end with this, is that it's really hard to convince someone who is providing for their family to step away from their corporate job, take a massive risk to start a business, a small family business, and people just don't want to take that risk. They like their benefits. They like the paid time off. They like that too much. And I mean, you talked about that. It's safe and things like that. So it's too hard. Once it starts, it's way too hard to get anything back. Shoot, like people start unions and things like that. You're not going to get that back, unfortunately. The only way you can get it back is by telling people to go out and support local businesses, which I'm telling you all to do right now. Go out and support local businesses, because local businesses are getting absolutely destroyed right now. And I can speak from a place where, like, I feel like I know what I'm talking about. We own a small business. It's almost impossible. And is it tiring and not fun? Most of the time, yeah. But also it's very rewarding. So, and I will say, if you want to work a 9 to 5, how not? Like, that's nice in some case, but you want to get out of it. Wake up early. Start a podcast like this, like where we start at 6 a.m. in the morning. Well, my time, but
Right.
you're gonna have to put in more work to get out of it once you're in it.
Yeah, and that's the hardest part. Is it's so hard to get out of the corporate sphere where and it's really hard to start like small businesses. It's like the people being tentative about it. It's understandable. I mean, it's a very risky, dangerous thing to do, to start a small business, because these big businesses, they will suffocate you. They'll push you out. They will attempt to buy your business to the point of like, okay, I mean, it's not even worth it. Like, I'm going to go under. I'm going to freaking die, if I don't do something, I don't sell or something like that. And they use underhanded tactics. They do illegal things that they never get in trouble for because they're too big. And it sucks. It sucks.
Right. Well, my thing is that
anyways, start a small business.
I want people to understand.
We will support you if we can.
Oh yeah. Well, I try to only support small businesses. But what I want to say is the fulfillment that you get from helping your community, giving people jobs within your community. Like, you're not going to be able to pay a whole lot of people, especially in California, by the way. It's ridiculous. I mean, we make double what you make in an hour, Josiah, in 1 hour.
Right.
and the small business owner has to pay that. So that's what's really hard. Is that no one can afford that. So now you don't have anyone working, just yourself. So anyways, but it's there's a fulfillment there when you are providing a need for people in your community, in your hometown. And if people would just accept that, because I think they're sold this bag of goods that is not good at all on social media and on TV, where you got to grind for the corner office in a big city that no one cares about you. Local business, right. People care about you, and you care about other people. So anyways.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Yeah, there is nothing more fun and rewarding than working in a small business. First of all, you have a lot more freedom. Like, you're not going to be told, oh yeah, you have to stand on your feet for the next 10 hours. No sitting. If you sit, I'm going to kill you. No, that's not like, that's not how it works in a small business.
What happens in a small business is that you're on your feet working for 12 hours.
Sometimes it depends on the business. But that's the other thing is, do you have a passion for something? If you do, that's awesome. You've been blessed with that. Like, having a passion for something is awesome. We're not talking about sports anymore. We have gone way off the freaking docket. But if you have a passion for something, that is awesome. And you should start something in that sphere where it's starting something for your passion. You can do so much for that. If you like quilting, start a quilting store, make quilts. Like, if you like writing, start writing stuff. You can even start writing a newspaper if you want, and maybe with writing, maybe don't just quit your job right now, but do that on the side first. But there's do it smart. Yes. But if you have a passion for something, you can make something out of it. He does farming, right? And maybe he doesn't enjoy farming very much. Maybe he'd rather do something else. But there are people who love farming, and there's nothing else they love more in the world. Like, there are people that love that lifestyle and that want to do that. So if you have a passion for something, then take that and do something with it. And if you
Do
don't
it.
have a passion for something, try different stuff. Go try farming. It's actually great. I love farming. It's awesome.
I'm waiting.
You're working outside all the time and it's great.
I'm waiting
Just
for you to
don't
come
make a
take
lot of
over.
money. I know.
The biggest problem. Well, and that's the thing. Write down your goals and figure out why you want to do it. But do it. That's basically the whole thing. Well, all of that being said, go do it. That's it. We're encouraging you. That one thing that you were thinking about last night, should I do it? Should I not do it? I'm here to tell you, do it.
You should do it.
All right, Josiah, let's get out of here. They've heard enough of us. Thank you, everybody, for listening to West Nile Virus. You can follow me on Twitter, or former Twitter, X, Caleb_GoDogs, and Josiah _WNV. We will be here Monday to talk about all of the college football and NFL headlines. Can't wait. Also, World Series game tonight. Very excited. God bless everybody. Go do that thing that you were thinking about. Do it.